Bridges aren't exactly what comes to mind when you think about interesting roadside attractions, but today I'll be visiting 3 historic and unique bridges around the upstate of South Carolina. I'll be learning about what has made them stand the test of time and remain popular tourist spots even today. So hold on to your bridges and let's get started. I'm so sorry. I'm on a mission to discover the world around me by exploring the strange, historical, and mysterious roadside oddities hiding right under our noses. Thanks so much for joining on this episode of Where's Wendell Roadside Oddities. My first bridge is tucked away in the woods and is said to be the oldest in South Carolina and maybe even the oldest bridge in the southeast. Welcome to our first bridge of the day, the Poinsett Bridge up in upstate South Carolina. I think I've been here before, but definitely wasn't when it was slushy and still some snow around. We do not get that very often at all, so very cool to see it in this state, but yeah. The bridge was made all the way back in 1820 under direction of Joel Poinsett, who we will actually meet later in the video, so stay tuned. Before that though, I had to go check out what's under the bridge. All right, I'm gonna head down and see what's under the bridge and see what it looks like under there. See if I can make this gap without dying. Okay, cool. Wow. It's way bigger than I thought it was gonna be. Man, it's crazy to think that's like over 200 years old. It's still in pretty good shape, honestly. That's crazy. Apparently there's rumors that it was haunted at one point, which I can definitely see why someone would think that, but so far it's just a kind of a peaceful place. Nothing too crazy. It's really in the middle of the woods, like out away from everything, which is really cool. Just to see something this old out in the middle of nowhere. I've seen a few people so far, but honestly, it's just kind of a chill spot. Nothing crazy going on, and I'm so glad there's not really any graffiti anywhere on it. I'm sure they clean it to an extent, but it's just kind of pristine. Walking around among the snow and rippling water, it was so interesting to think about the people building this back in 1820 before commercial rail was even a thing. It is so cool to see like all these old rocks that they made out of with the moss growing through it, but still standing after all these years. Huh. It honestly feels like I'm kind of walking across like a map in Skyrim or something. I think the snow has a lot to do with that, but man, it looks older than 1820, which is old, but man, I guess it's just the way it's kind of aged as it went. But man, it looks like it's something that could be out of like a, I don't know, medieval castle or something. By the time I had explored basically every inch of this bridge, the cold was starting to get to me, so it was about time to move to our second bridge of the day. Overall though, I definitely recommend it if you're in the area, and especially if you can catch it during the snow. All right, well that's the first bridge of the day. On to the next one. And welcome to our second bridge of the day. This is Campbell's Covered Bridge, which is the last remaining covered bridge in South Carolina, and it's actually only 15 minutes away from the oldest bridge, which is really cool. But I'm excited to go check it out. There really is just something about that look of a covered bridge. It kind of just throws you back. Obviously I wasn't there when these were popular, but man, it's so cool. It's so random too. I never really understood exactly why, but very cool. So I might have been overthinking it a little bit, but yeah, apparently most covered bridges were made just to protect the wood that makes up the bridge, which makes perfect sense. This specific bridge was built over 100 years ago in 1909 through 1911. Which really puts into perspective how old the bridge we were just at was. It's almost 100 years before this one. One Jonathan for scale. You can tell that they paint over it fairly regularly, but there's still all these couples who will carve their name into the wood. I was definitely curious about how much damage the bridge might have taken with Hurricane Helene, but it looks like it got through it just fine, which is good because like I said, it's the last one in South Carolina. There's just something so peaceful about like an old bridge and like a babbling brook, basically. I don't know. Stability check. It's definitely rugged, but not quite as rock solid as the rock bridge that I just was on. I love that the county actually owns a lot of the land around here, so there's a bunch of trails just all up in there with benches that you can sit on. It's really neat with a beautiful view of the bridge. Man, it'd be really cool to get married or something here. Actually, last time I was here, I saw somebody get proposed to right there. So that was cool. I don't know if they ever got married here or something, but definitely a vibe. After seeing about all there is to see, it was about time to move on. The wind is picking up, but I definitely recommend, if you ever can, visit Campbell's Covered Bridge. It's definitely cool. All right, now off to a much newer bridge. Let's go. Okay, welcome everyone to beautiful but a little cold downtown Greenville, South Carolina. Our final bridge is right around the corner. It's coming up. I see it already. Woo! Before we get to it, I want to introduce you to someone very special, Joel Poinsett. He is literally responsible for the first bridge we visited, as well as bringing poinsettias to the US while being the first ambassador to Mexico back in the day. I even came across this spring that he built the same year as the bridge. Anyway, with all that 1800s history out of the way, it's time to move on to something a lot newer, our third bridge of the day. Welcome to Liberty Bridge in Falls Park, right in the heart of Greenville, South Carolina. In 2004, Liberty Bridge was opened, serving as a capstone of efforts to reclaim downtown Greenville's natural beauty and create Falls Park into one of the most popular downtown parks in the state. 20 years later, I can definitely say it's worked, as I still see hundreds of people every time I go down to Falls Park. There's so many great restaurants and art around the bridge that it's no wonder that so many people cross it every day. I also love how many walkways there are under and around the bridge. You get really good views of the bridge and the falls from almost any angle. It's interesting because I have never known a Greenville, and I've grown up here my whole life without Falls Park and Liberty Bridge because I'm only 24, but it is so interesting to see a city actually care about reclaiming its beauty and making sure it's a place that people actually want to go to downtown. The memories I have just hanging out with friends or family, taking dates down to downtown and walking across the bridge, they'll never be forgotten, and I'm so blessed to live in a place where that's available to me right downtown. I just hope through this video I've been able to showcase some of my good memories and inspire you to go out there and make more of your own. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and like the video. I'm going to try to do like a series of kind of seeing all the different roadside oddities, kind of like the bridges in South Carolina. So stay tuned on the channel, hit that bell to get notifications for the videos. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.